Are there teams out there right now, Geoff, that you have a little bit of concern potentially about making the playoff, or is there someone out there right now that maybe we're not thinking about making the playoff that potentially should be in the playoff?
I mean, at this point, probably not, Bear, right? I mean, we pretty much have, I think, a bubble at the top of teams that we think can make it. Now, the question obviously is who doesn't make it. I'll tell you what, there, this feels so different this season with the 12-team playoff, where I view this college football season like an NFL season, which I have never done before, right? Where it's like style points don't matter, right? For any team, just win in advance. Same in the NFL, right? Just win in advance. And we can certainly talk about how you win when it comes to playoff time, right? Like who you played, how does it look, but just win in advance. And then losses don't kill you. I mean, LSU just lost this past weekend. They're still in the playoff hunt. They have 2 losses, right? And so I feel myself looking at the sport much different this season. It makes it a little bit not less exciting is the wrong word because more teams can be in the playoff, Bear, but each individual game doesn't feel as consequential as it has in the past, right? Even this weekend. If Ohio State loses this weekend, they're still in the playoff. Penn State obviously would be most likely undefeated. They're in the playoff. But again, like it doesn't change the playoff picture very much, other than if you think Ohio State loses to Penn State, do they lose to Indiana in 2 weeks and they're plus 650 to be out of the playoffs, Bear? That feels like a bridge too far to cross for me, though. I can't get them not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't see them dropping both of those games this week, and then the home game against Indiana, and they should beat Michigan the final week of the season as well. Like I know that price out there is insanely good, but I don't know if I can get behind that. But there are a couple of teams that I think might be worth a look to make the playoff. Tulane is one. They play Thursday night. You can get them at a really nice number. Still, I think north is $6 to make the playoff. I think you don't need that much. I think you might just need a Boise loss and Tulane to wind up winning the American in order for that ticket to cash. I think that's worthwhile. And I think we might be overlooking Kansas State a little bit in the Big 12. I mean, I have an Iowa State ticket, obviously, that I would love to cash. Iowa State hosts Kansas State, I believe. I believe it's in Ames.
Yes, it is. It should be. I believe it's in Ames
final
too,
week of the year. But
yeah.
You would think that Kansas State should beat Houston this week, beat Arizona State, beat Cincinnati, and that game will probably be pretty close to a toss-up there. And that game, if they were to pull the upset over Iowa State, they'd hold the tiebreaker over the Clones, and you very easily could see them in the Big 12 championship game against BYU, which that was a complete anomaly of a box score, that first meeting in Provo. Yeah. So if you're looking for 2 teams that you might not necessarily be thinking about right now making the playoff, I'd be looking at Kansas State and Tulane.
Yeah, I'll let Tulane play. Obviously, kind of a quirky game this weekend or this Thursday in Charlotte. The other one that I'm looking at just for a sort of a future bear right now is UNLV's plus 230 to win the Mountain West. If you look at the postgame win expectancy of their loss against Boise State, most of the people that give us those numbers have UNLV as the better team throughout that game. Doesn't mean that you win and lose a game, right? Boise State won that game. Is there value in taking UNLV, or are they just sort of snake bitten by Boise State now? They've lost 2 times in a row, and Boise State's just going to run through them when they play again in the Mountain West Championship game.
Well, I think if they do want, I mean, I guess you just kind of have to project your number to if they do get to the conference championship game, what will they be on Boise State's home field? I mean, the one thing that you do need to concern yourself with are the Mountain West standings, and you do have Colorado State and San Diego State right there still undefeated. And look, I don't think Colorado State is any good, but if you look at their schedule, that might be a kind of a favorable path to get through there. Nevada, Wyoming, Fresno State, Utah, like there's a chance they go 3-1 at worst there, and I don't know what ultimately would be decided in the tiebreak there. So I don't think it's a guarantee we get that game. Yeah. Look, Colorado State can lose to anybody, but I almost wonder if UNLV would be a bigger dog on the blue turf. I mean, And maybe not, because I'm sure that price is kind of factored in right now. Well, actually, take that back. They were a 4-point dog on their home field, so they're probably going to be a 6-point dog, at least up at Boise if they play against you. You're probably going to get a better number if you just wait. So I might hang out and wait for that as well. So
the last,
if you want to hang out, what?
I'll say the last team just quickly. I think that's worth discussing because they're better than we thought. With Colorado to make the playoff, any chance? I think the answer is no, because Iowa State, BYU have really easy schedules, Bear, and they're just not going to lose enough games for Colorado to surpass them, right? Like that's, I think, where we're at. Colorado's schedule, by the way, also, Colorado is going at minimum 9-3 in my opinion. There's a real chance they go 10-2, but I think Iowa State, they have the Kansas State game, obviously, but BYU's not losing. I don't know who they're losing to on the schedule. I think we talked about Colorado a couple weeks ago as a playoff team, and then Will and I got much better numbers. I don't know if you jumped in on it, Bear. I think it's too late to take Colorado at 600 when it was like 1,300 a couple weeks ago.
It is, and boy, I'll tell you that non-pass interference call at the end of that game against Kansas State could wind up being very, very costly. Because I don't think they get in at 10-2 because they won't have a win over a ranked team. They will have lost to K-State at home. They will have lost to Nebraska. But they could be the best team in the league right now in terms of
they're playing really well. The butterfly effect of that Hail Mary against Baylor is pretty remarkable, right? So they lose that game, Bear. Their season is different. It just is. They make a play. Travis Hunter forces a fumble there, and they're looking at 10-2. Like I realistically think, who are they losing to on the schedule? Maybe Texas Tech in a couple weeks, but Colorado's off a bye, and Texas Tech is off, most likely a loss to Iowa State. I think it's realistic to think Colorado is winning out. Texas Tech, Utah, whatever Utah is now, at Kansas, Oklahoma State, who can't stop a nosebleed. So I think Colorado's going 10-2.
Bear Bets full episodes drop twice a week right here on the Bear Bets YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to stay ahead of the odds, and let's celebrate all of our wins together.